What's up guys, as requested I'm going to review the video called The Bizarre World of Diet Cults by Josh Brett.
Plants are trying to kill you. Bread is literally depression.
Bread is depression essentially. It does cause depression, it does destroy the gut. That's funny.
It's like junk food.
Described by many as diet cults, the threats of these groups are very...
What do we have here? Carnivore. Carnivore nowadays means to eat mostly cooked meat, but we'll see what he means. Detoxers, I don't know what he means. Breatharians, yeah, well that's not even a diet anyway. Fruitarian, that's pretty much the worst diet you could possibly eat.
Real. While some have been around for hundreds of years, they've recently risen in popularity.
There is a very scary, cultish side.
Often positioned as a cure to all of your problems.
Leveraging the public figure was an experiment to spread the message.
Why are you obsessed with eating dick and balls, bro?
Well, why not?
And you know what they say, you are what you eat.
We can laugh at some of these, but there's a much more sinister side to this. For the past 10 years, I've tried to find the best diet, only to discover...
That's stupid. You should not be looking for a diet, seeing as diets are man-made. Human beings thought of diets, that's why there are so many diets. An animal only has the natural food it's supposed to eat. A cow eats grass, humans in nature eat raw meat, rabbits eat other kind of plants, whatever plants they can find, but every animal has senses which tell them what they're supposed to eat. Certain food smells good to us and other animals. Certain food tastes good. Certain food even looks good. The color red creates appetite in human beings. The color green actually suppresses appetite. This has been scientifically proven, which already proves that we are of course not supposed to eat green vegetables, which are super unhealthy. We're not supposed to eat bread, whatever. Everything that's man-made anyway. It has to be natural. We are of course supposed to eat raw meat and drink blood. All of our senses tell us this. Even babies, young children love raw meat.
But are well shrouded in disorders, fallacies and guilt.
The ultimate cleanse ever is a bananas-only diet.
So what does nutritionist Matt Fitzgerald mean when he talks about diet cults? Why do they seem to be becoming more of a threat to the people you know? And why do so many leading health professionals spend so much of their time warning against these?
Gatorade is extremely toxic and poisonous.
Peppers and tomatoes are ruining your gut health.
Spinach, not healthy for you.
Oatmeal is for horses, maybe, probably not even for horses.
Beans are bullshit.
Dairy is terrible for you.
Eggs are one of the worst foods that you can eat.
Pink Himalayan salt, canceled. Teas containing these silken sachets, canceled. Dark chocolate, canceled.
You have to...
The overall problem is that you listen to other people who are supposed to tell you what you are supposed to eat, instead of simply eating natural food that you want to eat. Stop listening to other people. Start listening to yourself, as in your body. What do you actually crave?
Stop drinking cold water with your meals. Stop eating fresh food.
2013, the cotton ball diet started trending on social media, in which little girls would only eat cotton balls soaked in juice, a weight loss method popularized in the modeling world.
It's not that bad.
The cotton ball diet is
You can't even call that a diet though.
as disturbing as it sounds.
Perhaps more horrifying is the infamous tapeworm diet, which involves swallowing a parasite, which lives and grows up to 9 meters inside of you.
Illegal in the US, but easily purchased from other countries through the internet. Tapeworms and their eggs in pill form were popular weight loss aids a century ago.
My personal favorite are the breatharians. They claim to not consume calories, living off the universe's energy.
I've been free from the need to take
That's also not a diet.
any nourishment from food now for 11 years. So the body manufactures naturally all the
She was proven to be fake in a video. I actually made a video about this years ago.
minerals, vitamins,
Obviously.
nourishment, everything it needs to be totally healthy, self-sustaining, self-regenerating, without the need of taking anything external to yourself.
Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis.
Lower down on the crazy scale are fruitarians and raw meat dieters. In fact,
Fruitarians and raw meat dieters are put in the same category. Come on, man. A fruitarian diet only has water, sugar, and doesn't have over 15 micronutrients. You will most definitely fail on it. Everybody does fail on it. Everybody stops being a fruitarian. I also wonder if he's going to mention a vegan diet overall, seeing as a vegan diet also is missing 15 micronutrients. At least, actually, there's more, which means that it causes malnutrition. It's incredibly unhealthy, seeing as it's a man-made diet. Raw meat is literally what humans eat in nature. We can see this all of the time. Tons of African people still eat raw meat. In Ethiopia, it's completely normal to eat raw meat. It's the tastiest, most nutritious food.
This is an entire encyclopedia of diet fads. With over 1,000 new diet books published each year, it seems like only more and more are being created.
Yeah, but the clay diet is, again, not a diet, man. Jesus.
Natural selection, right? That's what I used to think, until I realized most people fall for something similar, myself included, and typically led by a charismatic, often self-appointed leader. While there's plenty of instances, this doesn't always need religious connotations. Nutritionist and author Matt Fitzgerald defines a diet cult as any rule-bound way of eating that is morally based, identity-forming, community-building, and viewed by its followers as superior.
Yes, and you shouldn't be part of these cults. You shouldn't be listening to other people when it comes to what you're supposed to eat in general. Like I said, it's just that when he says that eating raw meat, which is what humans eat in nature, is somehow a cult, it doesn't make any sense. Sure, there's people out there, some people even have called me as some kind of a cult leader, who will tell you what you're supposed to eat. I'm just trying to inform people. I've never told anybody that you have to eat it to be part of my group or some nonsense. I always tell people, in the first place, what is what I teach overall? Listen to your body. When it comes to everything, diet is only one thing. Generally, don't listen to me about anything. Just listen to your body. It's more or less as far away from a cult as you can get. I'm just talking about nature and listening to your body, whereas somebody like Liver King, who's on drugs, obsessed with himself, tries to scam people and so on, could be called a cult leader. He will, in one video, eat and say that he eats mostly cooked meat, and then in another video, he will say that he eats raw meat. It doesn't make any sense. He's a liar. Yes, that's what these people do.
Other ways of eating.
No plant-based food nor plant-based meat substitute can make serotonin, which is why vegetarians and vegans suffer more from mental health issues. Eat meat and be happy. Eat meat and have sufficient serotonin.
Fat diet.
This is very true, and the guy who's making this video is not gonna try to debunk it, seeing as he couldn't possibly. It would be one thing if he would analyze these claims, if he's trying to imply that they are wrong, but he just can't do it, which already proves everything.
Can already be extremely isolating, with many resorting to them out of desperation. Combine this with the cult-like dynamics, made possible by social media, and it becomes clearer as to how someone could blindly follow something so extreme.
I've half believed been living off.
Okay, that's an interesting point. He talked about being extreme while showing people who are eating raw meat, implying that that's extreme. Something that is extreme is far away from the norm. The norm in general is nature. Humans in nature eat raw meat. That's flesh, like I said, in its natural form. Cooking is a very modern idea and still not done in many places on Earth. It's just a cultural thing. It's what slaves do. You've been enslaved and brainwashed to cook your meat, to make it harder to digest, to destroy the nutrients and so on. When you cook meat, you only make it worse. It's always bad for you. That is actually extreme by definition, because it is far away from the norm. The norm, nature, is raw meat. An extreme diet, an abnormal diet, abnormal food, is cooked meat. It's natural flesh that's been heated in some metal pan, in some pot, boiled, grilled. You create carcinogens, you make it toxic. That is literally, by definition, extreme. It's extreme to eat bread, which is grain sludge baked into a square. That is insanely extreme. It is actually bordering insanity. I could go on and on.
Fruit alone for like 27 years.
The raw food community are one of the more extreme groups who theorize that food should never be cooked.
So I just hope
Raw food, that's natural food. Every animal, besides brainwashed human beings, eats raw food. You won't find anybody who puts their food into fire and destroys it on purpose. Only human beings are this incredibly stupid. Raw food is simply natural food. He's literally saying that raw food, if he's implying that it's part of some diet cult, is somehow extreme. No, it's literally the norm. That is how food is supposed to be. Of course, these people who eat raw vegetables, raw fruit, and so on, only that, are extreme, because they are going against what they actually want to eat. All of these vegans crave meat incredibly badly, but they are part of this cult. You could say that in their case, because they restrict themselves. They don't listen to their bodies.
Back from a run and I'm about to have breakfast. I'm going to go for 15 to
Freely is incredibly sick now after many years.
20 bananas for this breakfast.
The fruitarian diet rose in popularity, largely thanks to prominent proponents, such as Freely the Banana Girl, with a 30 banana a day diet. We also have the carnivore communities. But diet cults are much more than guzzling avocados and raw testicles for miraculous health benefits.
Just crushing some late-night raw testicle here. That's a fresh nut.
Diet cults also exist within more mainstream diets, and when these qualities are present, there's often fatal consequences. There's plenty of success stories for every single diet fad. Research suggests most diets fail. Perhaps this is for the best.
But there is a very scary, cultish side.
There's been countless reported deaths from people attempting some of these more extreme diets.
Yes, that's because as a breatharian anyway, you eat nothing. As a fruitarian, as I said, you're missing over 50 nutrients. You're going to quit, usually after a few months or after a few years. As a cooked vegan, you're going to quit after a few years maximum. You're going to start cheating, taking incredibly many supplements, eating Beyond Meat because that's what you crave. If you actually eat raw meat, you never want to stop because you feel the best you've ever felt in your life. You're getting more nutrients than you ever got in your whole life. Your digestion is better than it ever was. I don't hear of people who quit eating raw meat. There could be a reason because socially it's not acceptable, some garbage like that, but nobody is going to quit eating raw meat because they feel bad.
I don't mean to belittle your beliefs, and I'm sure they're sincerely held, but there is a woman who is dead in Scotland as a consequence of following your principles.
With many parents receiving strong backlash for involving their kids.
It's time for me to do an update on...
It is very strange that he puts eating raw meat, what humans eat in nature, in the same basket as eating only fruit. Fruitarians look absolutely terrible. You're not going to find any people who eat raw meat and look terrible.
How sick did you get?
My skin was turning orange. I had a lot of hormone imbalances, which caused other skin issues from acne to eczema. I had leaky gut, stomach ulcer.
Jordan developed orthorexia, an unhealthy obsession with being healthy, and switched from being a vegan influencer to consuming animal products.
You were literally getting...
Also, it's funny how he's never going to be able to present any proof of somebody who actually felt bad by eating raw meat. But he puts it in the same basket, and people who watch this video see these people who are unhealthy from a vegan diet, obviously. It lacks over 50 nutrients. You eat fiber, pesticides, anti-nutrients, you're going to feel super sick, of course. But then people may believe, oh, it's also a fad diet, it's a cold diet. I guess that you're going to get sick eating raw meat also then. It's just very dishonest to put it together.
Death threat. Yeah, I was getting death threats from people, predominant people in the vegan community.
It's the average person who gets caught in the middle of all of these opposing groups. It came out that Liver King was making over $100 million a year from his ancestral supplements. While most people didn't take him seriously, you can't deny he was extremely charismatic, almost like a WWE character. His message was about living more primally, like our ancestors, with the use of fear.
Not at all. Nothing really that he promoted, except for some raw meat here and there, was in any way primal. And he also stole the whole primal thing from Ajna's Wonder Planets.
Mongering, extremism, and flawed science, he was able to build a large audience.
What? Vegetables?
They were not fans, but primals, and those who didn't live the same lifestyle.
Primal!
This seemed a matter of moral superiority.
Primal, the primal, the primal, the primal, the epitome, the king of subprimal.
There was a sense of group identity and blind adherence to his tenets, regardless of a lack of scientific evidence.
This, right? There's radioisotope labeling studies that show conclusively that when you eat an organ, the corresponding organ in your body will receive the nourishment.
Yo, Liver King, let's go, man.
It's said that this study doesn't exist. I don't know about that, but that's obviously common sense. Humans always used to understand that if your organ, such as your liver, has any kind of damage, then you're supposed to eat liver. That's absolute common sense anyway. We naturally understand this. If you have a problem with any part of our bodies, then we need to eat those body parts. What would you eat instead? Vegetables? Take some kind of vegetable extract supplements? Come on. People are completely disconnected from reality.
One expert demonizes carbs, while another demonizes fats. Extreme carnivore.
It's not that they demonize carbs, although there are the zero-carb people. It's that you have grain sludge baked into a form which then humans consume. What do you not understand about that? It's insanely unnatural and therefore unhealthy. Whereas fat, he's showing butter right there, is of course healthier. I wouldn't recommend generally consuming dairy, but raw butter is of course super healthy compared to what most people eat. It's still not as ideal as actual animal fat from a cow, for example. If it's grass-fed, didn't receive any medicine. Butter is essentially just milk fat. You can't in any way compare that to bread.
Carnivore advocates demonize vegetables.
Calling out all vegans.
Vegetables, the ones that we eat nowadays, are man-made. You would never want to eat natural vegetables. They are insanely bitter, sour, they are inedible. The only reason you eat vegetables nowadays is because you've been brainwashed. Even the vegetables which we consume nowadays still taste horrible, and most people mislabel fruits as vegetables. Cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers are actually fruits. It's not the actual plant, it's the fruit of the plant. Those don't taste as terribly, and those are also man-made. They also don't exist in nature. You can't simply lump all of these unnatural foods together with natural foods.
Stop spreading bullshit rumors about how great all these vegetables are. Eat beef liver.
Vegetables are essentially the least nutritious foods. Really, it's the unhealthiest foods you could possibly consume, although seeds are still a bit worse.
While extreme vegans demonize meat.
Stop eating chicken butt food.
Yes, but the difference is that there's no reason why vegans are demonizing meat. The reason is moral, but there's no nutritional reason. There's nothing unhealthy about animals. It would be very contradictory for vegans to say that you shouldn't be eating animals, even though they supposedly love animals. Animals are healthy. If you love animals, you can't say that they are unhealthy.
Titty milk and also dead carcasses.
The arguments for both sides can be compelling. Studies link...
There are no compelling arguments to eat a vegan diet. The most compelling argument against a vegan diet is that plants don't have over 15 micronutrients. You don't need anything more. It will always, without an exception, cause malnutrition. Let's see what he has here. An association study, of course. What else do you have? Absolutely nothing, because there's zero proof that a vegan diet is in any way healthy, in any way beneficial. It will always be bad for you. If you can't literally present any actual scientific proof, and associations are in no way scientific, it's actually anti-scientific, then you have no proof. Just nothing at all. You eat more red meat and processed meat in developed countries. That's why there's an association. Oh my god, man. This is pure stupidity. How can you even present this to people? Of course, people don't even read this. They say that that's why there's an association between colorectal cancer and people who live in more developed countries, because they eat more processed meat. It's not even about red meat, and it's not even true that people eat more red meat in developed countries anyway, but that's a different topic. Even if that would be true, how can you draw an association, some kind of correlation between those things? People are also on a vegan diet, more so in developed countries. People do all kinds of garbage in Europe, the United States, more than in other countries. People in Africa live way more healthy than in the USA, for example, which is essentially the unhealthiest country on earth. There's also a lot of stuff which I'm not allowed to mention on YouTube, which they do in the US, which is very unhealthy compared to those underdeveloped countries, which are actually more natural countries, which is why people there are way more healthy. The bottom line here is that you can't simply blindly, religiously believe that there's an association between people who live in developed countries and colorectal cancer, because they supposedly eat more red meat or processed meat, which is not even true. They eat a mostly plant-based diet. People who live in the European Union, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the worst countries on earth, eat a mostly plant, grain and vegetable-based diet with 20 to 30% meat, whereas in all of the underdeveloped countries, they eat way more meat anyway.
In meats, certain carbs, fruit and vegetables, to an increased risk of cancer. Of course, popular newspapers latch onto this for a catchy headline. One expert tells you to stop eating butter, while another tells you to put it in your coffee if you want to be a high performer. Obese people being told to worry about butter or margarine. People being looked down upon because the only way they can afford fruit is if it's tinned and non-organic.
I don't want to offend anyone with this video, but we live in a society that has normalised and literally encourages treating the symptom and not the cause, and I want to talk about it. Something which I am quite snobby about, which I'm not proud of, are people's food shops. I was at the supermarket this afternoon just doing my food shop, and the woman in front of me was loading on all this junk food, right? White bread, crisps, pot noodles, all that kind of stuff. And also a whole load of medicine, like pills, sachets. I could not believe.
This might be too crazy to comprehend, but not everyone's...
That's how it is when you starve yourself, especially on a vegan diet. You're always agitated, your nerves are dead. Whereas if you eat naturally, you don't care what anybody else buys. You're not bothered by other people. I've never had a thought where I'm somehow bothered that somebody in front of me is buying something which I see as unhealthy. Live and let live. That's how you live your life when you're actually healthy and happy. Whereas a vegan is always going to get mad, even if you eat a plant-based diet, about people around you.
You sometimes ask me which vegetables are okay to eat. My answer is no.
In other words, people buy emotionally, then justify logic.
I already saw this in a different video, but it's always funny.
If you look into the proof behind people claiming a particular diet to be inherently superior, the quality of scientific evidence is inconclusive. In fact, it doesn't take long to identify...
No, as I said, just stop focusing on diets, seeing as diets are man-made. No animal on Earth, except for humans, follows diets. You simply need to eat exactly what you crave, as long as it's natural. Your senses could be messed up because of all of the additives in food. You do need to detox from unnatural food. Of course, why would you eat toxic unnatural food? That's common sense. But once you have stopped eating this garbage for a while, you will start craving what you actually want to eat. And once you get a taste of it, you're simply not going to stop.
Potential bias.
Your handle is carnivore indeed. You are getting so much of your income from being a carnivore MD that even if you're presented with overwhelming evidence that the carnivore diet is not an optimal diet, you will never change your opinion because you can't, because it's in your supplements. And
Nah, I don't agree with this. Paul Saladino doesn't seem like the guy. And people who eat a lot of meat in general are way more open-minded. A lot of these people, including him, were vegans in the past. They switched to a different diet. Otherwise, they would have stayed vegan. I'm also absolutely open to anything, but I've been eating raw meat for over 7 years now. Nobody has come with any arguments, proof, or evidence that it's in any way bad for you, that eating something else is better. Just nothing. Over 7 years now. Nobody can prove that eating naturally is bad. The same way nobody is going to be able to prove that it's bad for cows to eat grass. No matter what you do, you will never find any evidence that it's bad for them. The same way you will never find any evidence that eating raw meat is bad for humans.
your business model.
What almost all fanatical advocates fall back on is the appeal to nature fallacy. This is where some
appeal to nature fallacy. Oh my god, this video is getting stupider and stupider. There is no such thing. When you appeal to nature, you're appealing to absolute truth. Nature is everything. You are nature. Your body has its natural senses by which you live. You follow your senses every day. That's nature. You love being in the sun. That's nature. You love eating food, hopefully natural food, which you do, but you may be brainwashed to eat other garbage. Everything that's natural is always good for you. Whenever you appeal to nature, you are correct about everything.
Something is claimed to be good because it's perceived as natural. Or
yes, everything that's natural is always good. Absolutely zero exceptions. Zero. Nobody's ever going to be able to name one example how it could possibly be wrong. It is impossible because nature is basically like God in religions, except that you don't have to religiously believe in nature. There's simply nobody who could ever give an argument against nature. Everybody loves nature. Everybody wants everything to be natural. Everybody loves being in nature. Nature is life. If you're against nature, you're against life.
Bad because it's perceived as unnatural.
If you want to be an alpha organism, do what other alpha organisms do, right? If you look at killer...
Not everything that's unnatural is bad in the sense that You can create weapons which are man-made, but they can be useful. A lot of things which are unnatural may be useful, but when it comes to food or anything that has to do with health, then everything that's unnatural is always unhealthy. That distinction should be understood.
Whales, they're the ultimate predators of the sea. They rip open great white sharks and they go for the liver first. Lions go for the liver first.
Oats are bad because they're processed. It seems...
Oats are not simply bad because they are processed. Try eating actual natural oats which haven't been processed. You will hardly even be able to chew them. And that's because we are not naturally supposed to eat them. Again, nature is perfect. Nature tells you exactly what you're supposed to do. When you can't eat a food, when it tastes terrible, when it irritates your gut, you're actually going to have really bad gut pain if you eat raw oats.
Makes sense. But this is a fallacy. Polio is also natural. Is that good?
Polio is natural. I can't talk about this on YouTube. That's too bad. I would love to get into this topic. I would recommend reading the book We Want to Live by Agnes Wonderplants if you want to find out more about it, although there's also other sources for it. That's all that I'll be able to say here. It's not natural, that's for sure. How can it even be? Where's the proof? There's no proof at all.
Olive oil is processed. Is that bad?
Olive oil is extracted oil from olives. Olive oil is, in general, bad, of course. Is he trying to say that olive oil is somehow good for you? Oils from any kind of plants will always be bad, seeing as you have an unnatural amount of oil which has been extracted from the natural food. Only natural food is healthy. Are these gonna be his only examples? Because he just proved in the video that nature is always good, and something that's unnatural, especially when it comes to food, obviously, is always bad. Is that really it? Because he just completely failed. Nobody will ever be able to prove that appealing to nature is somehow bad. Nature is perfect. It's how everything is supposed to be.
Sure, some of our ancestors used to only eat meat, but others used to primarily eat fruit.
Wait, what are you talking about? What? Which of our ancestors primarily ate fruit? He can't even name them. He's just making up lies.
Humans are all individual, a highly adaptable species.
We can eat the good. We can eat the bad.
There's one thing that I really noticed in this video. It's that he can't disprove any of the arguments which are presented, especially when it comes to meat. And he also can't actually provide any proof for his claims. He simply claims something and then moves on to the next topic. Yes, we had ancestors who primarily ate fruit. What kind of ancestors? I could email him. I could ask him for an interview. What would he say? Oh, I don't know. I just heard it somewhere. I don't know what the name was. Oh no, I forgot what the name was. What a liar.
And we can eat the ugly. This versatility is, to me, what defines us as humans and is the key to our evolutionary success.
So, what do the holistic experts actually say about the optimal human diet?
The best diet for humans does not exist. Our responses to food are personal, so our dietary advice must also be personal.
This is the crux of the issue. Based on the current scientific evidence, there is no one superior diet.
There will be...
What scientific evidence? Where is the evidence? Again, he's completely lying to the audience. Anybody who has a functioning brain right away can see through his lies. He can't provide any proof. There's no proof for anything he's saying right here.
Another health documentary coming out. We've all been poisoned by insert group here. Big pharma, big food, big beef, who knows, right? And they're all out to get us. And a lot of this kind of ideology just turns out to make these diet rules that are ineffectual because they put so much pressure on us to alter our normal lifestyle.
That if a certain diet hasn't worked for you, then maybe it was the wrong diet for you.
What you're often listening to is an argument not grounded in science, but fallacies, morality, and emotion.
Where is the science? You haven't provided any proof for anything. You just claim things religiously. You're really not any better than any of the vegans.
Now with social media, many of these fad diets are evolving into diet cults. Now, I'm not suggesting you're moronic enough to ingest a tapeworm or swallow raw sheep ball sack.
What would be moronic about eating sheep balls? What? Just name one thing. You said that there's scientific proof for what you believe. What is wrong about eating testicles, which every human in nature eats? Why don't you name something? You not being able to provide any proof for your claims, not even an argument, proves that you are dogmatic.
But before you laugh at these people, ask yourself, could I be falling for
Everybody's going to be laughing at you after this video.
something similar? Is that diet that seems so desirable actually sustainable? I genuinely want you to find the diet which works best for you, which is why I'm not going to give any exact
All you had to do all along was simply listen to yourself and eat what you want to eat, as long as it's natural, like I said. But now, he's just a slave, he doesn't understand it.
recommendations. Something which helped me the most, though, was focusing on including nutrient-dense foods in
Yes, of course, he also goes to the gym. Good slave.
my diet, as opposed to excluding food groups. So basically, do the opposite of a lot of these fad diets.
This video started off okay, but it turned into absolute garbage. He was already at the beginning claiming things without providing any proof whatsoever, not even an argument. I'm not even saying that he has to provide a scientific paper for everything that he says. Of course, obviously, it would be very hard to create such a video. But when he says that there's scientific proof, or science this and that, but then doesn't provide anything, then you have to start wondering. And he can't even give an argument as to why you're not supposed to appeal to nature, for example. He gave 2 examples which, come on, I hope that nobody fell for that. Jesus, that was so easy to... you don't even have to debunk that. It was so easy to understand that it was obviously fake. Nature is always right. Everybody loves nature. Everybody wants to go out into nature. Like I said, everybody wants to eat natural food. Everybody wants to feel naturally, which means that you feel good and healthy, happy. You will never find anybody who will say that nature is somehow bad. Therefore, to say that you shouldn't appeal to nature is insanely illogical. It's counterintuitive. Your intuition is nature. You have been programmed by nature, so to speak. Your instincts are natural. Everything that you do in everyday life is you appealing to nature. You love nature. Your life is based on nature. Your body is natural as it can be. Nowadays, still, your senses are all natural. What you see, what you smell, what you like is all depending on nature. You smell what you don't like and you don't eat it or want to be around it because of nature. It's what you've been naturally programmed to like or dislike. You see what you want to see, what appeals to you. It's all nature. We love nature and appeal to nature all of the time. I don't know how clear I could possibly make it. To say that there's something such as an appeal to nature fallacy is not only ignorant, it really takes a special kind of slave who's so disconnected from reality, which is nature, to actually believe that. The bottom line here is that he has no idea what he's talking about. Obviously, that's needless to say. He has absolutely no scientific or even any kind of proof against eating raw meat, which is what humans eat in nature. He has no proof against natural food. Surprise, surprise. Nobody on earth does, obviously. Thanks for watching.